Hi, I'm Braxton Thornley, a senior technology trainer here at UEN. Today we're going to talk about how to personalize learning for your students using Nearpod. And in this case, we're specifically looking at opportunities in Nearpod that provide students with some choice. So today we're going to look at two main examples. The first example is how to use Nearpod to create some sort of a choice board, and we'll look at that. But then additionally, we're also going to talk about how students can navigate at their own pace through a Nearpod lesson and how that could provide them with some choice as well. And we'll structure that through sort of a modified jigsaw activity. So I'm excited to show you both of those examples today, and hopefully they jar some ideas on how you can personalize learning in your own classroom. So we're going to start by looking at a choice board, and this choice board I've actually built in Google Slides, but we'll talk about how it connects to Nearpod in just a second. Now across the top, you'll see that I have some instructions for students. They're going to choose their challenge, they're going to go to join.nearpod.com, and then they're going to enter in their challenge code. And along the bottom, we have their three options for the different challenges that they could choose. Now what we need to do is we now need to go into Nearpod and generate codes for each of those challenges. And a code is simply a different lesson. So essentially we have three lessons here, and we're going to put in the codes for each of those lessons so that students can decide which lesson they want to participate in. So here's the first one. I'll click on Student Paste, and then I will copy this code here and go ahead and put it into the Google Slides presentation. And then I'll do that with the other lessons as well. Now, once I have all of those codes in my choice board, now what I can do is I can project this choice board onto the screen, and I give students the instructions across the top. They know how to get to Nearpod, and then they can choose which lesson sounds best to them. So do they want to do the rhetorical analysis on Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech? Do they want to do the rhetorical analysis on JFK's inauguration address? Or do they want to do the extension activity, which is on logical fallacies? And in our classroom, what we would probably do is I would probably tell students that they have 20 or 30 minutes to complete their lesson. Students would have individual work time, and here they can choose which option sounds best to them. Additionally though, beyond choice boards, there's also another really powerful way to provide students some choice in your classroom. And that extra way is by doing what I like to call modified jigsaw activities in Nearpod, where students can navigate through a lesson at their own pace based on what they choose to do. So we're going to go ahead and create our jigsaw activity as just a brand new lesson. So I'm going to go up to the top of the screen here, and I'm going to click on my create button to create a new lesson with you. And as you can see, I want to create a full lesson today. And once I've selected that, the basic idea of my lesson here is I have a number of articles for students to read, but they don't need to read all of the articles. They can choose which one sounds best to them. So I'm going to start by first off showing you the articles. So we have one right here, and then additionally we have another article right here, and our third article is going to appear here. And what I want to do is I want to embed all of those articles into the lesson and give students the chance to decide which one sounds best for them. So I'm going to go to Add New in my lesson. I'm going to provide a slide that gives students their instructions. And I'm just going to say, choose your own adventure. And basically the idea of these instructions is I'm going to tell students that they are responsible for reading one of those three articles that I just showed you, and they can choose which article they want to read, and the way they're going to do that is they are going to just navigate forward in our lesson. So for instance, we have three articles today. The first article is going to appear on slide number 2. The second article is going to appear on slide number 3. The third article is going to appear on slide number 4. So if I am a student who is interested in reading the second article, I would just skip ahead to slide number 3, and that's where I would find my content. Okay, so once I have created all of those instructions, my next step in creating this activity is I need to add in my articles to the lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Add New, and then I'm going to go to Web Content and add all of these articles as links. All right, then after I have added all of those links to the lesson, my next step is to create a collaborate board because I want students to be able to respond to whatever they read. So you can see I've added in that collaborate board here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a title. I'm going to provide some instructions to students, but basically the gist of it is I'm going to have them summarize some of the key insights that they found in their article. Additionally, though, in this collaborate board, I'm going to use columns because I want students to respond according to their particular article so that we can find their insights a little bit faster. So you can see I'm labeling this first column according to the title of the first article. Then I'm going to add in another column and I'll label that according to the title of the second article. And then of course, I'm going to do that with my third column as well, so that when students get to this collaborate board, they can share some of their insights, but they can also say these insights go with this article and so on and so forth. Now, additionally, as I'm creating this collaborate board, I can also adjust my student options and media options as needed based on the lesson. But once I'm happy with those, the way students are going to respond is at the bottom, they'll type their response, but they also have this drop-down menu that allows them to assign their response to one of those particular columns, and they can share their response for that article according to whatever they read. Now I'm going to preview this so that you can see what it looks like for a student. And as I go into my lesson, you can see I'm in the collaborate board here, but I'm going to scoot all the way back to the beginning where I have my instruction slide. And on this instruction slide, like I said before, perhaps I'm interested in the article that's on slide 3. So as a student, what I would do is I would just click the forward button until I get to slide 3. And then I'd be able to open up that article and I can read that article. And then whenever I'm done with that article, I can then skip forward to the collaborate board at the end and I can share my insights and whatever I found in the article. Now, as you might imagine, this gives students a lot of autonomy in choosing what type of content they want to engage with, but it doesn't necessarily need to be limited to things that students are reading. For instance, you could do this with different concepts that students could learn. So do you want to learn about X, Y, or Z today? Skip to this slide, or this slide. However you decide to set it up though, allowing students to move forward in the lesson is a great way to make sure that they are getting all of the content that they're interested in and also allowing them to explore content on their own according to what feels most impactful to them. So today we have looked at a choice board, we've looked at a modified jigsaw activity, we've talked about how you might create those in your own classroom, and hopefully it gave you some ideas on how you might personalize learning for your own students.